Now for this chapter, there's one more thing that I want to show you, and that is how to use your calculator to do statistical sums. So the calculator that I've encouraged you to get for this course is this one here, and it is the Casio FX300MS, and I know that they sell this particular one at the bookstore, and I really encourage you to get it because this is the one I'm going to demonstrate on. And other calculators can do similar sorts of things, but if you really want it to be easy and to be able to follow right along with what I do, then if you have this calculator, then it should work really well. And of course, if we're using these videos after this calculator is no longer being produced, you won't be able to get this calculator, and so in that case it'll be a different calculator anyway. But definitely if you have a different calculator, come to me in my office. You can come to the math lab. You can learn how to use those. If it's a hybrid course, we could probably talk about how other calculators can do the same sort of thing. But for this one, this is how this particular calculator works. Okay? First of all, you want to make sure it's all clear. If you're using it for stats, you may already have data that's in here. And to clear it, here's what you do. For this calculator, the CLR is above this button right here, CLR. And you just hit Shift and then that mode button. And then you get this menu, and this is a menu where you just press 1, 2, or 3 to select 1, 2, or 3. And I want to clear all, so I hit 3, and it says reset all. But then I have to hit the equal sign here before it actually resets it. Equal, and then when I see the lines across, it means it's cleared everything. So one more time, it's just Shift, Mode, 3, equals, and now it's cleared. You know it's clear. So now what you're going to do is you're going to have to select the statistics mode. So you hit the mode key without hitting Shift. You just hit the mode and you get these 3. And you're going to hit 2 for statistical data mode. And you actually see a little SD up there when you do that. So now what I can do is I can put data in. So I'm going to use this data set here that you've already done. Okay, so you're going to hit to put the data in. You just type in the number, the first observation, in this case 2, and you hit this M+ button. So it's right here, M+. It's hard to see it there, and I want to get everything. So there's the M+. So I just hit that. And when I do, it says n equals 1. The M+ means I've added it to memory. So now I can put in 1 M+, n equals 2. 7 M+, and I just keep doing this with each value in my data set. At the end, I'll get the number of values in my data set, which is 11. Okay? Now to get the sums here, if I hit all clear, my data is still in the calculator. It's in the memory. I can even shut my calculator off. The data is still in the memory. So when I turn it on, it still has these numbers in the data set, in the memory. Okay? So that's why you have to clear it before you start a new problem, because even if it was 10 days ago, the data is still there. So now, once it's in there, to calculate different sums, what I do is I just hit Shift and 1. So what I'm doing here, let me show you. If you look above the 1, it says S sums. So I just hit Shift 1, and there you go. You got the sum of x squared. So I click 1, and then I get the sum of x squared. So hit equals, and there's the sum of x squared. So Shift 1, if I want the sum of x, that's actually 2. So if I hit 2 and hit equals, then I get the sum of x. So see, I'm getting these sums here. So the order here, Shift 1. So the order for the sum of x, it's 2. and then shift 1 for the sum of x squared, it's 1, and I get that. If I want the sum of x quantity squared, I hit shift 1, and then if I do the sum of x and then I square that, it looks like the sum of x squared, but it's actually it'll know that you hit the sum of x and it will square the quantity. So in other words, you could use parentheses, which are right here, but you don't need to use it. Shift 1, 2. So I could do parentheses, but I don't need to do it. If I just hit shift 1, 2, and then hit square, it'll square that. Okay, and by the way, I didn't say it, but the square button is that x squared button right there. So shift 1, 1, that's the sum of x squared, and shift 1, 2, and then squared is the sum of x quantity squared. They look the same up there, but they're not the same. So now, one thing you might be wondering is, why does it put it in that order? That seems like a weird order to put it in. Okay, but it's because of this formula right here. It's in the right order for putting it into this formula. Let me show you what I mean. Okay, so n is 7. In other words, if I hit shift 1, 3, that's the number of values in the data set. But look, what I can do here is I can do shift 1, 1, and I get this, sum of x squared. I hit minus, and then I can do shift 1, 2, and then I square that. And then I hit divide by, shift 1, 3, and that's the n. And so I have this formula in there now, and I will get that number, 158.9, when you round to one decimal place. So let me show you. It's a real nice rhythm that works real well. Shift 1, 1 minus shift 1, 2 squared divided by shift 1, 3. And there you got it. And just practice that a couple times. It's very easy. Shift 1, 1 minus shift 1, 2 squared divided by shift 1, 3. And there it is. And so these sums just make everything a lot easier to do. Let me give you one more example that I have. If I had a data set like this, there are a lot of values, and they're actually big values. So this would be a lot of work to do, if even using the calculator, if I were to just do all these sums by hand. But let me show you how easy I can do it in here using my calculator. If I hit shift mode 3, that's going to reset everything. So that's my reset, because I had a data set in there already and I want it all clear so I don't put this new data on top of my old data. So now I hit mode 2 and that sets my mode. So I cleared it, I hit my mode, and now I'm going to put this data in there. So 184 M plus 189. And I'm going to just do this with all the values. Okay. And now all 12 values are in my data set. So I could shut my calculator off if I wanted to, turn it on. Doesn't matter. They're already there. So now I actually have these written out here. Let me find it. And then we can look and see if I get the same things. Where is it? Here it is. So these are what the numbers should be here. So let's actually do the sums, okay? So if I do shift 1, here's my sums. 2 would give me the sum of x. And there it is, 2,493. Shift 1, 1, there's the sum of x squared. 522,163. Shift 1, 2 squared. So that's this one right here. You can compare. And now this is the average value. So if I do shift 1, 2 divided by shift 1, 3. There's my average. And then if I wanted to do this formula, again, that real nice rhythm, shift 1, 1 minus shift 1, 2 squared divided by shift 1, 3. And then there I get the final formula. Okay? So even with a large data set, using the statistical sums on the calculator really is quite easy and doesn't take very long. It's very efficient. So very practical. And that's doing the statistical sums on your calculator.